Welcome back, Dolph fans. Today we're going to be going over a couple of the guards that are going on in free agency that I think the Miami Dolphins should target. I think we should definitely do both, where it's like you draft someone and you get someone in free agency. I totally think that you want to get experience. You don't want to just have a rookie come in and figure it out. You want to have both. You want to see the competition if the rookie can step in, but you want to bring in people that can also have competitions, and whoever is the best offensive lineman goes up. And really, with this free agent class and this draft class, you can not only just not have a weak offensive line, you can turn this offensive line into one of the strongest in the league, just like that, because we already have some pieces. Aaron Brewer is a very solid centerpiece. Austin Jackson, people want to knock on Austin Jackson. When Austin Jackson went down, the whole entire run game just diminished. So Austin Jackson is a very solid player. Is he the greatest right tackle that ever lived? Maybe he might do that eventually, but Austin Jackson is a very solid tackle. And I don't understand. He was playing through an injury most of the year. This is why he had slightly down year. So what you're really looking at is Austin Jackson from last year. That's what you're getting with Austin Jackson. He's a above average, pretty decent right tackle. That's all you really need, for Tua. So you're having Austin Jackson back. Aaron Brewer's there. Teron Arms is there. But Patrick Paul is probably going to man that position, because most likely Teron Armstead's he's gonna go down. Teron Armstead's gonna go down. It's just gonna be the way it's gonna be. So you have a pretty decent set right there. What you need to do is build backups and build those guards. Now Isaiah Wynn, I think, is going to be the guy that is going to man that right guard spot, which I'm very happy with. I think Isaiah Wynn did a great job when he was in. Just unfortunately that injury set him back a lot this year and took him out last year. So having him fully healthy this year is going to be solid. You saw the difference when he was in. So it's that left guard spot. Here's the thing. There's a bunch of free agents that can man that left guard spot, and there's draft picks. And we're going to get into it right now, but you're going to see what I kind of want to go for in this free agency with the guards, because I think we're going to draft a guard, is you get some one-year guys and you get some potential guys. What I mean by one-year guys is you get someone that's 34, something along those lines, older in age, that requires a one-year prove-it type of contract, that have been good throughout their career, and you just bring that experience in there. And if they perform well, you can extend them, but you draft someone so that next year they can take over, and you just bring that experience. Because, like I said, if you just get a top, older, veteran guy that can come in and just produce, you can turn this line into not just an okay, but a very, very good offensive line with the players that we have. These are going to be all the guards that we can target in free agency. The first one we're going to start off with is Trey Smith. Now, Trey Smith is going to be an incredible player. I think whoever signs him as a free agent is getting an extremely good player. The problem is just the contract that he's going to require. I don't think the Dolphins are going to be able to get him. So that's why I'm out on Trey Smith, unless, I don't know, some sort of finagling happens. I don't know. If you can figure out how to offload Tyreek Hill, then you can get Trey Smith. But he's going to be asking for 80 to probably a Robert Hunt contract for probably $100 million. So I think I'm out on him. Will Freeze is a little more in the ball range. Will Freeze was Indianapolis Colts guard, and he's probably going to be a $50 million player. Now, of course, Chris Greer is going to do a bunch of finagling and make contracts better. The problem with him is that he fractured his tibia this year. So, do you want to pay, which this is, unfortunately, this is right up Chris Greer's alley, is do you want to pay a dude this amount of money coming off fractured tibia? It's tough, the guy is a really good player. He's probably one of the best offensive linemen in this free agency class. It's just do you want to sign a player coming back from injury to a massive contract? Now, if he takes less, if he takes like 3 years, $30 million, which I highly doubt he's going to do because, he just fractured his tibia, then you can probably get him because he's a really good run blocker. He's pretty decent at pass blocking. But, again, I don't know if I want to pay for someone to come off of a fractured tibia and to pay him a boatload of money just for that. And especially since this year was basically like the one good year that he had. The other years he was like, all right. You know what I'm saying? This year was the one year that was like, okay, this dude is something. So, I don't know, tough way to look at that. Teven Jenkins, this is more in our ballpark. Teven Jenkins is a pretty solid guard. Now, I don't think you need, like a Trey Smith. It would be wonderful to have a Trey Smith, but Teven Jenkins is more our style because lesser contract, 3 years. He's going to be 27 coming into this year. And honestly, he's been pretty good, solid throughout his career. We'll read right into it. Jenkins is a force to be reckoned with on most Sundays. The issues over his career thus far has been getting on the field. There are some occasional whiffs to clean up in pass protection, but it can't exactly help his pass set footwork going from right tackle to left guard to left tackle, while also rehabbing a bunch over his rookie contract. Second round pick, Sam Cosmi signed a 4-year, $74 million extension. This would serve as a favorable comparison. See, the one thing with Jenkins is that, again, another one that Chris Grier loves is the injury-prone person. Like, he just has been injured a little bit too much in his career. But when he's on the field, similar to like a Teron Armstead, when he's on the field, dude is a baller. Like, he's the guy. Like, he's a very good guard. Just the problem is that hasn't been on the field. But does that also have to do with continually switching all over the offensive line instead of just directing him to a spot and just keeping him there? Because he's been all over the offensive line for the Bears. Rookie contract was good. When he is there, he is one of the top guards. It's just that he gets injured a lot. So, again, another guy. But really, the problem is this year with the type of contracts that we have, unless Chris Grier does something, you can't really sign those top-tier, uninjury-prone players. You kind of have to sign, like, this kind of has to be an option and you just have to pray for the best because he's a really solid player. And he's not going to ask for a whole bunch, but he's a really solid player. And that's kind of what you need at that guard. Because, again, I think you sign back Isaiah Wynn, and you got to get someone like this. This is the dude that I want. Kevin Zeitler, here's the thing. Mike McDaniel, we don't know if he's being here for one more year, so you need to get a dude that can immediately come in and contribute. Kevin Zeitler is that guy. He is 35 and pretty much has been a stud his whole entire career. Kevin Zeitler has been one of the better offensive linemen for his whole entire career. I think he was on like the Ravens first, and then, he went to Detroit and Baltimore, Detroit. Forgot who he was before, but great run blocker, pretty decent at pass blocking. He's the type of dude that you want. 1 year, $6 million, or probably maybe like $8 million, depending on what he wants. He's the type of dude that this is probably my favorite pickup that I would say for this year, because you get a guy with an experience. You want someone that can come into this year with experience, and you want to draft a player as well so that this guy can teach that young player what he needs to do and where he needs to go. I think, again, Isaiah Wynn, one of those guys you need to sign back. He did very well. To man that other guard position, I think this would be the perfect pickup. I think Kevin Zeitler would be the guy that the Miami Dolphins need to target. He's going to stay on the field. He's not like Teron Armstead that gets injured. He's going to stay on the field. He has a commanding presence. He's a leader on that offensive line, which is kind of something that we need. I don't feel as though Aaron Brewer is like that leader. I don't feel like Austin Jackson's vocal enough to be a leader. Teron Armstead is that guy, but he's always injured. You need someone out there that's going to be that leader. And I think putting him next to Teron Armstead is going to be ridiculous, because then Teron Armstead doesn't have to worry about like Robert Jones whiffing on a block or anything like that. You have two solid guys on that left side that can really man that, and then you just have to worry about the right side with the guard, and then you would be solid. James Daniels is another one. He's 27. The problem with him, again, and you're going to see this a lot, is that tore his Achilles. So he a little more so than the first one, because you can most likely add him to a contract for like 1 year, 2 year, prove it, whatever it is. Because this last year he was excellent. He was excellent when he was playing. He was a very good guard. And, the only problem with him is that 1 year. So what I see the Dolphins doing this year is doing that, finding a lot of experienced players that you can sign for 1 year, and you could just have them bring that experience to this offensive line. Just get a bunch of those players. You don't need to be signing people for 3-4 years. You need to draft a guard that's going to be your future. But you need to sign someone that's going to be here, bring that experience, and just immediately contribute coming into this season. James Daniels is another one. Kevin Zeitler, James Daniels, both guys that are pretty good at the position, will bring that experience, bring that leadership. And here's the thing with James Daniels. If he stays on the field and does what he needs to do this year, you can sign him back for a long-term contract, because next year we'll have a lot more leeway and a lot more room in the cap room. Sorry, it's my coffee. To sign back players, to get rid of players, to move on from players. That's what I kind of think you need this offseason, is to sign back some of these 1 year players. And then next year you can move around whatever you want, but sign a bunch of these types of guys. Mekhi Becton, he's one of those guys that, again, I think is someone that maybe you take a look at. He hasn't been best the entire start of his career, but with Philadelphia, sometimes you just need that boost of confidence. And I think Philadelphia have given him that, where now he's a starting tackle or a guard for them. And this is the thing. You don't have to sign him for a lot. $27 million. He is 26 coming into this year. And he's a former, I think he's a top 10 pick, if I remember correctly. Top 5, I'm pretty sure. He was, a really sought-after pick. Dude is, 6'8", big old wall. And he did a very good job for the Philadelphia Eagles. And this is someone that if they don't sign him back, because there's a possibility that he gets signed back, he's going to go for a cheaper contract, because, he didn't play well his whole entire career. And you have someone that has a boost of confidence, that's kind of almost figured it out this year. And you can bring him in. Butch Berry can definitely do the same thing that Philadelphia did with him. He had some of the injuries, but, for the most part, this guy, his confidence was just lacking. He just did not have that career that he was supposed to have. And you can bring him in with a new, fresh amount of confidence, a new, fresh contract, and possibly have the steals of the year with Mekhi Becton. If you sign him in, you could have a steal of the year. $27 million for 3 years is not a lot of money. We could definitely finagle that. And he could be the steal of the free agency, becoming the next stud, and top guard in the league, because of Philadelphia and because of, him having that confidence now. You can translate that to continuing that confidence in the guard position. Brandon Scherf, another guy, you can bring him in, but he's all right. He's older now, and another really top guard for most of his career, but older guy. Is another option that you can bring in to bring in depth. Zach Martin, again, another older guy that you can bring in. I tend to think that Martin, because of the type of leadership that he will bring, he could be a very good option for us in free agency. Another 1 year. Patrick McCarry is another top option when it comes to offensive line. I don't think he has the upside of Mekhi Becton. This last year he wasn't as good. He had kind of a down year. But another option that you could consider, and Aaron Banks, these are guys, Will Hernandez. Actually, Will Hernandez wouldn't be a bad option either. He's a little older, but another guy. But for the most part, I would say what you're going for in this free agency, this could be the steal of free agency. If someone picks him up and turns him into the stud that he was supposed to be, this could be the steal. I say you go after Mekhi Becton, James Daniels, Kevin Zeitler. Honestly, that's who I think you go for. I think Teven Jenkins has the injury-prone history. You get those three guys in this free agency for cheap. Mekhi Becton, James Daniels, and Kevin Zeitler. You have now depth at the offensive line. These are all one-year contracts, so if they don't turn out, then you can just, next year you're good to go. But they will immediately contribute. I think the one that you're really going for is Kevin Zeitler and Mekhi Becton. But I truly believe you sign these three guys to cheaper contracts. They're older. James Daniels, he's coming off a torn Achilles, so you don't know what you're getting with him. But Kevin Zeitler and Mekhi Becton, you sign those two guys, you have depth, and you have, somebody that's kind of quite young at the guard position that you can really, possibly have the steal of the draft with Mekhi Becton if you sign him. Because if Bush Berry can do his thing with Mekhi Becton, just like the Philadelphia Eagles did, then you have a perennial, top 10 guard in the league going alongside Patrick Paul growing, and going alongside Aaron Brewer, and going alongside, Isaiah Wynn or whoever you decide to draft in this draft. You got a very young, solid offensive line, and you've then completely turned around this offensive line from being trash to being one of the best in the league. You know what I'm saying? So these are the guys that I think you definitely need to target. And like I said, Mekhi and all those are, backup options. But I think you definitely get Zeitler, you get James Daniels, you get Mekhi Becton, you filled that offensive line, and then you draft someone in the draft, probably in the second round or the first, depending if someone falls, you draft someone as well. So then you've just completely solidified this line. So yeah, Kevin Zeitler is going to be the one that I want them to target. He's older, yes, but his whole entire career has been excellent. His whole career he's been one of the top guards in the league. He still is. I think you just sign him to that 1 year, maybe two if you feeling frisky, but you sign him to that 1 year, and you have that veteran player that can immediately come in, produce at a top level, can help Aaron Brewer at a top level, and possibly, which not saying this is a reality, but Toronto could possibly not get injured because he doesn't have to deal with people that suck to the right of him. He has someone that literally can be a good duo with him. You have to understand, the center and the guard are a duo, and the guard and the tackle are a duo. So if you have that guard that sucks, both those duos suck, because they're kind of manning off each other, passing off to each other, understanding who's God, I'm forgetting the name, who's doing twist, who's doing stunts, who's doing all those things. They're talking to each other, and the guard is also talking to the tackle to see who to pick up. So if you have someone that's crap right there, no one knows who to pick up. So that's why if you bring in a Zeitler, you can have that good team where they're constantly talking and passing and moving and getting the right guy who's doing whatever they're doing the stunts, doing the spins, doing whatever they're doing. You can pass and accept the right man, and this offensive line can be very stout on that side. And then the right side, Austin Jackson's already good. Isaiah Wynn and Austin Jackson become that duo, and then you have not a liability in any of the positions, but you have everyone being very solid. And again, one of the things that this brings that people don't understand, injuries. Injuries typically happen when you have crap offensive linemen because they don't know who to pass, and they don't know where to accept the pass. People are running into each other, and someone falls on someone's whatever. This is typically what happens with offensive linemen because you're so out of sync that you tend to get injured. So bringing in people that are not Liam Eichenberg, that are not Robert Jones, you're going to have less injuries. because people are going to be much more professional. There's not going to be players that are getting pushed all the way back and some players that are not. And, it's going to be a stonewalling effect where you have the line moving in unison to protect Tua instead of like collapsing and then moving and this and that. That's the problem with a lot of the injuries that we have, because we have crappy players that they just get pushed immediately back, and it just completely like confounds the offensive line. So done with my rant. But yeah, those are going to be the players that I think we're going to keep doing this. There's going to be a series on this where I'm going to keep giving you guys the free agents, the draft picks, all of those mock drafts. We got a lot of stuff coming. So hit that subscribe if you enjoyed this. Comment down below if you want somebody else for me to target. What's the next group of players that you want me to look at in free agency? Let me know down in the comments below. As always, guys, fins up, baby. Love you all. Peace.